Really wanted it to resonate with anyone that is struggling, and you know what I mean, and be a source of light, and to show somebody like you could go through all this and come out the other side and be a stronger person, and not let life could beat that ass, you feel me, knock
It
you on the
can.
pavement, you know what I'm saying, and like, and break your spirit, but then you could mend and come back together and be whole again. And so anyone that's struggling, that's really who my intended audience was. Anybody, to be a voice for the voiceless, for to be a voice for the disenfranchised. And that was the goal right there. You know what I mean? It wasn't trying to make anything other than like, this is medicine. This is hope for the hopeless.
Where you at? West Los, rock on. C block to the break of dawn. 310, rock on. In them sections to the break of dawn.
Just insane. So who do we have here today? From LA to the Bay and back, the epitome of electrifying energy, the greatest host to ever grace a battle rap stage, Lush Uno.
That
How we
with you,
doing, my
man.
man?
My boy Matt Freezy.
Chilling. Huh?
My boy Matty Freezy.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, it's been a minute. Man, that first interview we did was about 11 years ago now.
That was a fat minute, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a good interview. That was a good interview. So yeah, like I was saying, man, first off, I want you to tell these people what this album, the name of this album, and where they can find this. Now, this album just dropped. I just copped mine. Y'all better go cop yours. Lush, tell them where they can find that shit.
Lush1.com or lush1.bandcamp.com. Either way, album is called HYAMS, which is my last name. I named it that because it's a very autobiographical album. It's like if my life was a movie, it would be this album, dysfunction and all. It's like literally me crawling through the mud and emerging through to find the best version of myself, which is a complete parallel of what my life has looked like the past few years. And really, I go back a lot further. And it's my last name. You know, I always use one of my middle names, my great grandfather's last name, Carletti, was
Carletti, yep.
actually what my name has always been. But I wanted to embrace the true essence because I never really liked that last name, Hyams. So I was like, what better title? There's nothing more raw and authentic to myself
than Hyams. Yeah,
than just
that's
embracing
great.
something that I always like was insecure about. So I feel like just putting that on blast, you know?
That's dope. That's really dope to hear. And I just want to say I can testify to what everything he's saying. This album is you listen to this album and you can you feel the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into this album. It's like, oh, I said this earlier to my girl, right? It kind of, for me, is the comparison to Eminem's Recovery.
Word.
Like he made two. I was 14 when the Slim Shady LP came out, so I grew up on M, right? But he made two whack albums. He came back. He almost died. Came back, made Recovery, and it was like a resurgence for him. That's how I feel about this album for you. Is like it's back to that old Lush, like that like. It just reminds me of like the golden era of hip hop. You know what I mean? And it really, like I said this to you the other day, and I want to say it again. There's 4 albums right now that I'm, really, really, really liking, and that's the new Nas, the new Busta, the new M album, and my favorite album right now is HYAMS. I've listened to it 12 times front to back, mostly because I wanted to be ready for this interview. But that's not even it. When I first listened to that front to back, I immediately had to play it again front to back. Like it's one of those. You have to, like, you say so much and just there it's so relatable. That is one of the biggest things, especially for me. It's super relatable, and I mean, I had goosebumps listening to this album.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, yo, so
I really wanted to make something that give my own spin on a classic hip hop sound, and an album that was digestible. In nowadays, a lot of people, they're not even focused on making albums. They're focused on a collection of songs, which is going to resonate on a fucking Spotify algorithm and things like that. So they're like sequencing it to cater to that. But for me, I wanted to bring it back to the days of listening to a record or a tape front to back and have it, the songs go kind of, just weave in and out of each other and reference each other. And like, it was a complete story, and there's a trajectory. And so that's the vibe I was going for. And I'm glad that resonated. I wanted to make my magnum opus, my version of Illmatic, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, this is a masterpiece. And that's one of the other things that I wanted to say. Something you just said was that the way this album is structured, it's perfect. It's like a movie. It's like from beginning to end, it takes you through this journey, and it's like all right, so the each song, even the ones that are bumping, like, they're deep, the lyrics are deep and like things like that. So like, but the way you have, like, you come out and it's banging, and then like you get into, like a deep song, a meaningful song, and then you get into something real lyrical, and it's all super lyrical anyway, but you get into something real lyrical, then you get back into the bang and shit, and then back into the, so it's like and the way you did it was so well done. And I feel like a lot of people don't take enough time to focus on song placement when they create an album.
No, absolutely. I'm glad that translated. And, just from being someone that grew up listening to a lot of Wu-Tang, and you know what I mean? And even like a little bit later, like Madlib and MF Doom, with like the samples, that just a tapestry creating a whole vibe and a culture. And that's really what I wanted to do. And that's why I focused really heavily on the sound design. Me and the engineer for the project, my boy Andy Rodriguez, Jordan River Recordings, like, we really focused heavily, and like I created like a whole new style. Instead of calling them songs, I call it audio cinema, LA Noir audio cinema, because it's kind of a dark portrait of my life in the streets of LA over a hip hop template. And that's like, so that's the whole idea behind it, and like there's even certain samples which interweave, and like characters in the samples that have their own trajectory throughout if you listen closely, you'll hear like samples from the same source come back multiple times, and they all kind of like, then that character will have his own trajectory within the record. So yeah, no, I got deep with it.
I noticed that. You did get deep with it. It's like that, like I said, it's like a movie, and there it is, like there's different characters in this movie. It's so, and it's so easy once you put it on, it's gonna grab you. So anybody who's watching this, I mean, just play the first song. Just press play on the first song, and I promise you'll be hooked, and you're gonna listen to the whole thing. That being said,
I lost you. I can't hear you.
You got me?
Yep, you bet.
I didn't even touch anything. My phone just muted. That's crazy. So one thing I wanted to to bring up was the fact that you had 8 different people make beats on 15 tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's like a normal thing. I know some people do that, but like what was the reasoning behind that? Like what made you go to these different every beat is fire, by the way, and everything you the way you flow and everything on every beat, it's like the beat was meant for that song. But
Thank you.
yeah, man. But yeah, what made you want to do that? What made you take that route?
Well, I would say that nowadays it's not uncommon for there to be a lot of producers on a record. What is uncommon is to maintain a cohesive feel between all these different producers, which by the grace of God, somehow, some way I was able to do. And it doesn't sound like it's that many different producers when you listen to it.
Not.
You know what I mean? Like and really all that was is I had a specific aesthetic I was going for, and I was working with the producers that I felt like were able to create it and looking for the proper sonic palette and sound bed for each specific record. And it just kind of worked out that way. I had 3 or 4 from my boy Andy Vodka Jordan Rivers, who was who actually, yeah, and he did like 4 of them, you know what I mean? And then my boy Body Bag Ben did 3 of them. My boy Depakote did 3 of them. And then, it was like, it's only right that I tap in with Chase Moore with every project, because that's one of my closest friends, and he's one of the best in the world. So him and I actually have a whole other EP coming out in a few months. That's crazy too. So had to tap in with him for one of them. And then my boy Eastern Warfare got one. Marv One got one.
The Eastern Warfare beat is insane, bro. They're all
he's
great,
stupid. He's stupid.
The Marv beat's crazy too. I don't know if people know Marv makes beats.
Oh yeah, Marv is an incredible producer. Yeah, and then my boy Alexander Brown came through with the last one, which was actually the lead-off single, the Mad Deep joint. So it all made sense, and it all came together very naturally. Nothing was forced about the whole process.
Right. Yeah, you can tell. It seemed almost like effortless. Like it was almost like it was just created for you. Like,
right. Well, and some of them were
from an outsider's perspective, me specifically, obviously looking in, that's how it felt to me,
I wasn't going on BeatStar trying to buy beats from strangers. I'd love to work with, and I know Alchemist, I know Evidence, and I love those dudes and would love to do something with them at some point, but I wasn't like reaching out to big name producers or anything like that. I was specifically trying to fuck with my close homies and people that I just have a relationship of mutual respect with that wanted to make music, you know what I mean? So It just came together super natural, just on some like, let's make a banger. This is what I'm going for. And it just, it almost wrote, recorded, and produced itself, the whole entire project.
That's amazing.
And most of it, like, I'm sober now, but the majority of that album was made during the final year of my addiction. I made that from August to December of 2019 is when I was recording like 13 of those 15 tracks. You know what I mean?
Wow.
There's only 2 of them that I made once I got sober. And there's certain aspects of my artistry that's gotten a lot better since I've gotten sober. And you'll hear that on my upcoming projects, but there's like a certain pain and desperation which I'll never be able to recapture. Even though I could tap into it still, but it's different because I was in the midst of it. I was fucked up, like hands shaking, sweating, on drugs while I'm recording the majority of that album. And you could hear the paranoia, you could hear the pain, you could hear the regret coming through every verse. It's like I was desperate to record it because I didn't know if this was going to be the last thing I ever rapped in my life. I thought there's a good chance that I wasn't going to make it out and I was possibly going to die. So I was putting everything I had into this project, because I was like, this will be like, God forbid I die. And at the time, I didn't care if I died or not. I was welcoming death, die young, leave a beautiful corpse. You know what I mean? And I was that was my mentality, as selfish and fucked up as that is. That's genuinely how I felt. So I was like, like when I die, and inevitably people want to throw their roses on top of my headstone as opposed to giving to me right now, this is going to be what they bump. This is going to be what people say, oh my God, this is an incredible project. And I almost romanticized that notion in my head. So that was what I was really going for. And you could just hear for lack of a better word, like desperation to create. And that's what was the driving force behind that project. But then, there's 2 joints that I recorded afterwards. Mad Deep and the First Day Bike joint are the ones that I did afterwards. Like,
I'm going to, First Day Bike. That's, that fucking song. That and Athena are probably my 2 favorite tracks on the album. But yeah, I mean, the chorus on Athena, jeez,
yeah. That's my fiance Marissa Urbano on that, and and we put that together. We had another. I wanted her on the album. We had another joint that my man CO produced, which was crazy. That I had a really hard, like 28 bars on or whatever, and she was originally going to be on that. But she's really particular, she's a dope singer. She's a pop artist in a group called Urbano, her and her brother. They're really dope. Very different music than I make, but it's like she's ill. And like it didn't really match her aesthetic. So I was like, you know what? Why don't you choose a beat that I know you're going to like? Because I don't want to go through making another record and have you wind up rejecting it afterwards. Yeah. So she chose, I had a bunch of beats from my boy, Eastern Warfare, who actually reached out over on Twitter. Like I had said something about wanting beats, and he hit me back, and he's an interesting dude, and he was sitting on a reservoir of beats that he had made in the early 2000s that never got used. So it was like the aesthetic totally matched what I was going for on some golden era shit. And she chose that, you know what I mean? And it was I recorded that 2 nights before I went to treatment. You know what I mean? I was in LA. I was at Chase's studio recording that. And she actually really helped my flow get better throughout the course of the album, because she's really talented. So she helped me. She was co-producing the record as I'm recording it over the phone on fucking on FaceTime, redo that. Da, 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 da. And it was I'm smacked off of Klonopins and hella drunk and just fucked up, because I know I'm about to go to treatment, and I was supposed to go to treatment a day before, but I was like, nah, I need to record. That was going to be the last song on the album. So I recorded that, and it was about our relationship and how she essentially came and dragged me out the gutter. That's why Athena, that's a mythical warrior princess type.
Yeah.
So that's why I named it that, you know what I mean? And
that's so dope.
Yeah, and it came together beautifully, and then she wound up recording the hook when I was in treatment, and it was crazy, and it came out amazing. That was the only part of the recording process I wasn't there for the entire album, was her laying down that hook in Philly. And then for First Day Bike, I wrote all those verses when I was in treatment. I'm I always used to write verses in classes in high school. So here I am in my therapy groups in treatment writing those verses, and then I put them together. I heard the beat my first day back in LA after being in treatment. I recorded that. So that's why it's called First Day Bike. So yeah.
That's dope. That is, dude, those are some great backstories. And yeah, those 2 songs are made it's worth buying the album just for those 2 tracks. Now let me ask you a question, right? So you had come out with what was it? A Falling Angel? Was that the name of it? A Falling Angel.
Oh, Bright Angel Fallen.
Angels Fall. Yeah. Why is that not on the album?
Okay, that's for the project with me and Chase. That's called That's Horatio Ski Resort EP, which is coming out in April. That's me and Chase Moore. You feel me? Did that,
Okay.
and so I shot 3 videos when I was in LA recently. I got a video for Mad Deep, which is coming out soon. I got an animated video for Amends to My Mom and Dad, which I've been sitting on since last summer, which is dropping soon. And I got a video for another project that me and my boy Ricky Mars has got called Dead End Kids, and those are all dropping. So I have these 4 videos, but I felt like Bright Angel Fallen was just the best look, and I wanted to reintroduce my visual content with that. So that's going to be coming out. That's on my next project, but yeah,
Awesome.
it's not on the HYAMS album.
Yeah, because that is an amazing song. So that's something else to look forward to, because I'm ready for more. Like after this album, I'm ready for more. It's so I can't speak more highly of it, and everything I'm saying is 100% truth. So I don't want people to think I'm hyping it up. It's nothing like that. This is all genuine how I feel about this music, and for me, music is very much about lyricism and concepts, and meaning, and that this album has that, and it hits every emotion, and it's just amazing beginning to end. There's not one song that's even like there's none of that. It's just all the way through insane.
I wasn't trying to like hit marks. Like a lot of people make an album, they're like, I need a song for bitches. I need you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I need this or that. They're trying to make specific. I was like, this is just telling a story front to back. And that's however it comes out is how it comes out. But it was very methodical, but I wasn't like checking off boxes. I was really Athena's the song for girls. And it's still like, I was like, if I'm going to do a song that's about that topic, it's going to still be a grimy, dark rap song, because that's what the album sounds like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And that's one thing I wanted to say too is that I could tell that this album was not, you did not create this album with the thought of trying to please everybody. You made this album for you, anybody who cares about you, and just anybody who has supported you. Like, I feel like this one was just for mainly you. Just it needed to be done for you, and that's what made it so fucking incredible.
I really wanted it to resonate with anyone that is struggling, and you know what I mean, and be a source of light, and to show somebody like you could go through all this and come out the other side and be a stronger person, and not let life could beat that ass, you feel me, knock you on the pavement, you know what I'm saying, and break your spirit, but then you could mend and come back together and be whole again. And so anyone that's struggling, that's really who my intended audience was. Anybody, to be a voice for the voiceless, to be a voice for the disenfranchised. And that was the goal right there. You know what I mean? It wasn't trying to make anything other than like, this is medicine. This is hope for the hopeless.
Yes. Okay. I see. I could tell. You can tell from listening to it that's what it's about. And I love that. And that's something I wanted to, so I was going to like write a bunch of quotes from like the songs. And then I was like, I started doing it, and I'm like, there's too many. In each song, there are too many things that I want to write down that I can't do this. We'll be here all fucking day. So I found something in First Day Bike that I kind of feel like sums up a lot of the album, or at least some of it. So it's the part where you say, I done had a lot, lost it all, watch me get it back. Heavens passed me up, sold my soul for a cheddar sack. Address the fact I messed up fast, still ain't got a letter back, putting numbers on the board, bitch, check the stats, yo. So I felt like that kind of like sums up what a lot of the album's about, and kind of puts things into perspective. So I chose that one specifically. And when I heard you say, I done had a lot, lost it all. Watch me get it back. Just that line, I was, you know what I mean? That's how I felt.
That's dope. You never
and
know
then-
what people are gonna react to, and like, and then I try to put really like subtle extra wordplay, like address the fact I messed up fast, still ain't got a letter back. Address letter, you feel me? Like I'm putting like little shit in there. You feel me? Like,
Yep. And the another one I did write down one more because this was such a fire. Just one line when you say, "I'm the phoenix in the ashtray that never really
never
rose."
Yeah, that's how I ain't
yo,
been the same since. Yep.